My name is Krystal Gomez, and I've practiced immigration law here in Texas for 15 years. Thank you for allowing me to testify today. I appreciate what Representative Dutton is trying to do with this bill, but I respectfully oppose HB 2351 due to serious underlying legal flaws that would create unintended consequences for Texas. This bill relies on a fundamentally problematic definition of unlawful presence found in Texas Penal Code Chapter 51. That definition is dangerously overbroad and misaligned with federal immigration law. The statute defines someone as not lawfully present if they entered the country unlawfully at any point in the past, even if they've since obtained lawful status through proper legal channels. This means HB 2351 would criminalize employers for hiring individuals who currently have valid work authorization and lawful status, simply because they may have entered without inspection years or even decades ago. For example, this would include a spouse of a U.S. citizen who's applied to adjust their status to legal permanent residence after an unlawful initial entry, and who's been granted work authorization while they await adjudication of their application. This would also include a crime victim whose prior deportation was waived through a U visa and now has work authorization. It would include a father of a U.S. citizen who was deported in the 90s and waited for decades in his home country in order to qualify for a waiver of that deportation order to immigrate lawfully back to the U.S. and is now a permanent resident. These individuals are all authorized to work legally in the U.S., yet businesses could face felony charges under this bill for employing them. This creates an impossible contradiction. Texas businesses would be forced to choose between following federal employment law, which permits hiring these workers, or complying with the state law that criminalizes the same action. This goes beyond mere confusion. It places Texas employers in an untenable legal position and invites costly preemption litigation.
Thank you for your testimony. Mr. Raymond.
Thank you, Chairman. Let me ask you, do you believe that there are undocumented immigrants who are not here legally, being hired to work in the state of Texas?
Yes.
Do you believe there are a lot of them?
I believe that there are a lot of people who are not allowed a legal pathway to apply for work authorization in this country, but still have to support their families.
Right, but do you believe, I mean, I'm trying to get to where the chairman's going with this bill, right?
Right.
And so, and just so you'll know in case you don't, I mean, what I've wanted to do for a long time, I've talked about a lot, is that we give work permits to all these folks that we do need to come. All right, so just know that, right? So I'm not, however, where we are right now is that employers are knowingly hiring people who are not here legally. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
So is there any way you think that Chairman Dutton could tighten this bill up to where it does address that?
I do think it's possible to have the language not include people who are here with work authorization, able to work legally, and not included in this bill.
I would suggest you follow up with his staff and maybe help them with that language. That'd be great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Members, other questions of this witness? Seeing none, thank you for being here. Daniela Hernandez, that's you. We have
Yes.
Daniela Hernandez, registered as testifying on behalf of Workers' Defense Action Fund and yourself, and you are against the bill.
Yes, that's correct.
Please proceed.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Daniela Hernandez. I'm the State Legislative Coordinator at Workers' Defense Action Fund, and I'm here to testify against House Bill 2351. Workers' Defense is a member-led statewide organization that fights for better living and working conditions for Texas immigrant workers. Undocumented folks in Texas pay over $19 billion in state and local taxes. They are essential to our Texas economy, and the truth is that Texas does heavily rely on immigrant labor. Industries like construction, food services, and domestic work specifically. Without them, our Texas economy and the so-called, Texas miracle that the legislature loves to talk about and that we've heard so much about this morning would just not be possible. About 50% of construction workers are undocumented, yet construction, spending contributes more than $139 billion in GDP spending. It's a booming industry, and who makes that growth possible? It's our immigrant workers. We believe that this bill will only create massive unemployment problem and ensure that families are faced with poverty. as undocumented folks are not eligible for unemployment benefits and services that so many of us are. We don't believe that the solution is criminalizing their employment. And oftentimes, that won't stop folks from hiring undocumented labor. It would only exacerbate labor abuses that we know immigrant workers are more likely to experience. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Members, there are questions of this witness. Mr. Raymond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What do you think is the solution?
I think we're supportive of bills and laws that protect all workers regardless of status. I think we've seen in other states like Florida and Alabama that have tried similar approaches that just really haven't
Right,
worked.
but I'll ask you what I asked the prior witness. Do you believe that there are people here, undocumented immigrants who are here, who are not here legally?
Yes,
Do you believe that there are a lot of them?
I can't tell you a number.
You just said in your testimony that there, you should say yes. because
Yes,
you just-
okay.
Okay. If you don't mind, just to be consistent.
Yeah.
So, do you have a suggestion on how we can address this issue outside or something different than what the chairman's trying to do here?
Yeah, I think it's expanding things like worker programs and things like that. But I don't believe that like criminalizing their employment in this way.
So what I told
is
some
this way.
witnesses two years ago when we had similar hearings like this in this committee, I said, don't just be against, be for. And you said it right there. And maybe it's because that's what I believe we should do, which is that we should have more work permits, recognizing our needs, our economic needs, right, in terms of that workforce. So I think it would be really helpful if witnesses like you all would not only be against something like this, but be for, be offering a solution, be advocating for expanding the worker permit program. I mean, I think, to me, that's just what makes the most sense, right? So just, I offer that up so that when you're against something like this, be for something that makes sense, and I think that makes sense, and thank you for saying that.